Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Blue Shirt I Wore. On this episode we're joined by Linfield legendary goalkeeper George Dunlop. Geordie, thanks very much for taking time out to join us today.
Pleasure, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm looking around here and I'm seeing things are jogging my memory a wee bit, but thanks for inviting me.
Anytime, it'll be a pleasure to hear some of your great stories and your wonderful time.
No tear talk now.
No tear talk, no tear talk, no tear talk.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Okay, George, before we get started on your Linfield career, just tell us a little bit about how you get into football in the first place and how you became a goalkeeper.
I can't even remember how I became a goalkeeper, but I did anyway. I played for Windsor boys through my school years, and then in the schoolboy international team, and then I went straight to Man City at 15, just 15 and a half. So I was there for 3.5 years, just over 3 years, and I came home on a sign for Glentoran. I only played about 7 games there. It didn't work out and I moved on to Ballymena. And I played a couple of years at Ballymena. And then I remember the stand was burnt, or the dressing room was burnt at Ballymena, and we played down the back in one of the old pitches. We played Linfield. And I think it's from then. I did okay in that game, and shortly after that, maybe a year after that, I was lucky enough to get to Linfield, and the rest is history.
How did the move come about then in the first place?
Well, I don't know how. Well, I was very friendly with Peter Rafferty and people like that there, and I think they were pushing to get me to come here, and thankfully, I came here in '77. And I loved every minute of being here, and I loved my time here. And the club was very good to me, and the fans are very good to me, and I had great teammates. The manager's a bit hard to get on with at times, but that was the ship that he run. But I loved every minute here.
What was it like then, obviously going over to Man City so early on in your career, and then obviously not making it there? Did that, help you then in your long run?
Well, it was very, very different then. You went into digs and you stayed with people and so forth and what have you. And I missed home quite a bit, So, that old saying, if I knew then what I knew now, I would be a lot different, I hope. But I enjoyed it. It was an experience, and we move on. Okay.
Your first season then at Linfield, tell us a little bit about that then and the team that you played with.
Well, when I first came out into the Swifts, I was supposed to come into the first team, but it didn't happen. Coyle didn't pick me. So I had to wait, I think nearly 18 months before I got into the side. And we played, we got knocked out by Cliftonville in the Irish Cup on the Saturday. And I think it was on the Monday or the Tuesday, we played Everton, a friendly. And he brought me on for the second half. Mm-hmm. And then he played me the following Saturday. And then that set me on a run for whatever.
What was it like then, playing understudy?
Well, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. But I had to grin and bear it because I wanted to play here. I was very, very frustrated. Sometimes the frustration became anger. But I dug in, and it was worth the wait for me in the end,
Did the frustration then very much give you motivation then to when you got your chance to keep it?
Of course it did. And I worked very hard at it. Billy Rogers was my mentor here, and worked day and night with me in training. And we worked very hard, and I wasn't for giving up that shirt.
Have you any fond memories then from your first season at the club?
Well, that was sort of 78, 79, and the team that I went into there through to about 82 was the best team I played in. People like Peter Rafferty, Lindsay McKeown, McCurdy, Alan Fraser, Nicky, people like that there. Was a special team, and Warren Feeney was in that team as well. It was a great team to play in. We could give teams start, but we'd always score goals, I think in that year, everybody in the team scored that year. I even scored a a penalty in the last game against Portadown out there, and that meant everybody in the team had scored that year.
And what did that feel like then for you?
Well, it was the ref said to me, "Go up and take it." You know.
Were you nervous?
No, it was fine. It was fine. I just closed my eyes and hit it. But it was fine because we won all the trophies that year. We were really good to watch. Really good team. So it was just a perfect end of the season.
You seem to have a great bond together even now, as what you did then as a team back playing, because I believe you all meet up and stuff like that and have get-togethers.
Yeah, we do. We had one there at just at Christmas there, and I think there was something like 21 of us there. So the guys like to see each other, get together, enjoy the moments and the memories, because we're all getting older.
Something you cherish, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay then, we'll move on then to the next season then. Do you remember much then about this one?
Well, not really, but there's 4 trophies that year, I see. There were a lot of good players in that team, and as time moves on, teams change, personnel change, etc. And the thing about Roy Coyle was he didn't wait about. If you weren't doing it, you weren't in the team, and you were moved on. One of the things he said to me was, "You're only in the team till I get somebody better," and that was his philosophy, and that's the way he worked, and it worked for him and us.
Do you think then he used that then as the mindset to keep everybody mentally strong then to play at this football club?
Of course. There's a lot of people have came here from different clubs, and what we would call, there would be big fish in a small pond, and then they come here, and all of a sudden there's a small fish in a big pond, And Coyle's philosophy was quite simple. If you didn't do it, you were out, and that's just the way it was. And everybody had to be on their toes. Of course, back in the day, then there was only 12 players. There was only one sub. So there was only 12 players on a Saturday, and he may have brought one extra just in case. But the early years of my career here were great, and it was a great team to play in.
Okay, Jordy, I believe you have a wee story to tell about this shirt. It was you swapped it with a Brazilian player, Junior.
We were playing in a tournament in Naples.
Yes.
There was a team called Avellino, ourselves, Napoli, and the Brazilian team, Flamengo. And Flamengo were staying in our hotel, although we were a bit more reserved than us in the hotel at the time. However, we got to meet them and we got chatting to them. At the end of the day, they won the tournament. They beat Napoli 4-0 in the final or something like that there. They beat us, I think it was 2-0, I can't remember. But anyway, we're back in the hotel after the game, and the Brazilian players were all in having food as we were, and my chance came up to speak to Junior in broken Brazilian, and I asked him about no. I asked him about indicated to him about swapping shirts. So he said to me, just wait till we finish eating. So we finished eating, and then went up to his room, and he gave me his shirt, and I gave him that one. And again, I think I got the best part of the deal there as well.
Nice memory to have.
Oh, lovely, and they were lovely people. But what a football team they were! Zico, Junior, half the Brazil World Cup team, and we sat at the edge of the pitch watching the final, and it was a treat. Napoli had Ruud Krul playing and several other Italian internationals, but they were a different level. Flamengo were on a different level from what they were, It's great.
Okay, George, we'll move on now to 1982. Tell us a little bit about that season then, and obviously about the cup final then against Coleraine.
Well, that was another good year for us as well. We played Coleraine, the final Irish Cup, and they were beating us 1-0, and then we got a penalty, and Billy Murray scored the penalty, and I think Lindsay McKeown scored the winner. It was a tight game that particular day. Obviously Felix Healy was playing in the game, and just after this game we both got picked to go to the World Cup. And I had to listen to him something shocking about the Irish Cup final, moaning about the referee and moaning about this and that and the other.
He still does a bit of moaning now when he's doing so he does, especially when it's to do with Linfield.
Felix, just get on with it and get over it, you know. But that was a good year for us as well. Again, that was a really good side, and that probably was the start of the team being broken up. You know, people moving on. Peter Rafferty, Davy Nixon, Alan Fraser, people like that all moving on, and new blood starting to come in, and Coyle starting to rebuild for the future.
Tell us a little bit about the character then in the side. Obviously, as you mentioned there, going 1-0 down to Coleraine in the cup final, but come back to beat them 2-1.
In that team there was a lot of character, a lot of strong personalities, with the never say die attitude, you know. And even I can remember one of the games we played out there, and we were 4-1 down to Distillery with about 15 minutes left, and we beat them 5-4. So there was a great attitude in that squad. Peter Rafferty is a great leader, but there was lots of leaders within that team, you know.
Okay then, George, moving on then to your stint then with Northern Ireland. Tell us a little bit about the 1980 British Championships then.
Well, I came into the squad, it was here against Scotland. And I can't remember the score, but anyway, we went on that year to win our share of the tournament that year with England. And we finished, so I think we beat Scotland or we drew with Wales, drew with England or something. So we went on to win it that year. And it was amazing for me to think I just committed the Northern Ireland setup and you end up winning the British Championship. So how lucky was I? Remember that jumper? We all got those jumpers, and we went to City Hall as well, and they gave us a memento also. And I have a medal which the IFA minted for the winners, and it was basically like an Irish Cup medal with a gold background, built on a gold background, which were engraved. I don't know what it'd be worth now, but engraved British Championship winners 1980. So I was very lucky that year, wasn't it?
What did it feel like then to get your first international call up, and then how did it come about?
Well, I can't remember how it came about. I think Billy Neal was a liaison person for the Irish League players with Billy Bingham, and he must have seen something they liked and he recommended me. So I went into the setup, and I think I lasted maybe 10 years in it, you know. So I was very, very lucky. I've seen the world through football. There's places I've been I would never have been only for football. So I loved every minute of it. It was great.
Okay, George, moving on to 1982 World Cup, something that I'm sure all fans and yourself have very cherished memories of. Tell us a little bit about your experience in Spain and what it was like to get the call up then to the squad.
Well, I didn't really think about it. Obviously, we were going. When I got a letter or something, I think it was, to say that I was in the squad, and I was really happy. I liked myself and Jim Cleary, Felix Healy, Johnny Jameson. We're all over the moon to get picked to go to that there. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd be at the World Cup finals. Never in my wildest dreams. But we got there, and I mean, the rest is history. The night we beat Spain was just a fantastic occasion. People still stop me now and say they know where they were the night that we played Spain. I can still remember. So it was fantastic. These things here, this actually shirt here, if I bring it around, is Pat Jennings' shirt, and he kindly swapped with me at the last game, and as I said before, I think I got the best part of that deal, you know. These things here, we players got the opportunity to purchase these. The Spanish FA decreed that they would make a Ladro World Cup replica. So all the players got the opportunity to purchase them. In 1982, they were £200 each.
That would have been a lot of money.
A lot of money. Well, it was 2 weeks' wages to me back then, you know. But from memory, we all bought one. Everybody bought one. And I think there a few months ago, one of these went for about £4,000. That's the value of them now. I gave this to the club as a token of my appreciation to what the club done for me. The club gave me the best years of my career in football terms. And they were very good to me. They looked after me, as were the fans over the years. And it was just a token of my appreciation, as well as this shirt, to give something back to the club as a token of my appreciation.
You mentioned the fans there. Just what sort of special rapport did you have with them?
Oh, brilliant. I had a great rapport with the fans. They were always very supportive to me. I mean, goalkeepers make mistakes. Of course we do. Everybody makes mistakes. But even at that, you know, they supported me right throughout my career. And again, as I said many times, I loved every minute of it.
You turned out to be a true fan favourite. You used to sing your name and used to conduct them at times as well.
Aye, well, that was a bit of fun and a bit of crack back in the day, you know. Cliftonville games especially, it happened quite a bit, you know. But it was just a bit of fun, a bit of crack. I think everybody enjoyed it.
Okay, George, then moving on to 1983 season, the start obviously coming back from the World Cup and stuff like that. Was there much pressure then on you to perform then for Linfield that season?
Well, obviously there was. I mean, there's always pressure here, you know. One of the things about being here is that, you know you're coming into pressure. You've got to deal with the pressure, and if you can't deal with the pressure, but then maybe you shouldn't be here. You know, I think Roy Coyle's philosophy was, you know, if you can't deal with the pressure, then you're going to go elsewhere. Bottom line, you know. But this was the '83 Cup final. We played the Glens, and this is as you see, the Lecoq Sportif kits, which I always thought were very nice kits. As such, you know. Unfortunately, that year, the Glens beat us. I played in 5 finals and lost 3 to the Glens. We just couldn't get by them in the Irish Cup during that period, you know. We won the league plenty of times, but we couldn't get past them in the Irish Cup.
There's one thing Coyle would say is that the one regret that he has about his time here at the club was that he didn't win enough Irish Cups. Is that, it just seemed to be a mental block at times then, maybe for everybody?
Yeah. Don't know what it was. They just had the Indians saying on us at the cup final. I don't, you know, that it's not that we're the better team, because we probably won the league as such, you know. We just couldn't get by them. It was one of those things, and I would agree with them too. We should have won more Irish Cups, but cup's a cup, you know. And if your name's on it, your name's on it, is my belief.
This is it. Okay, George. Moving on then to the following season, 86, you celebrated your testimonial season with the club. Tell us a little bit about that and how special it was to you.
Yeah, well, this was a kit that they wore. This shirt was worn by Frank Worthington. I had arranged through an agent, Bill McMurdo, George Best's agent, that they would bring a team over to play us in the testimonial. George Best obviously played in it. I think Frank Worthington and a few others. So it was a great night to remember. And George Best was always something special to me. I threatened to take him home to my house for a cup of tea, but my wife said no. She wasn't having that at all. But it was a great year that year. And enjoyed my testimonial, and I thank all the people who did the work for me and helped me through it.
What do you remember then about the league then that season? Obviously it was another successful season then for yourself.
Yeah, I have 9 league medals throughout the 80s, and the league wasn't a problem to us because maybe over a longer period or whatever. The league wasn't a problem to us. The problem we had, and it bugs me this day, is the fact we couldn't get by the Glens in the Irish Cup. They just had the Indians saying on us. Lady Luck smiled on them, and it's one big regret that I have. Another regret I have, I'm just thinking of my testimonial. I should have played more games. I should have played at least another 100, 150 games for the Blues, but not getting it in the team until a year and a half after I came here. It spoiled it a wee bit for me, but that is a regret of mine that I didn't play more games for the first team. You know.
Well, the one thing I'd say about that, Geordie, is that there wasn't really a lot of games then like there maybe is now, you know, to play. And then you look at it as well that, you know, that time in the Swifts probably built you up in a character to be so successful then later on in your career.
Could be, you know. I mean, the Swifts is a good side as well to play in as well, you know. But again, from a personal perspective, I would like to have played more games. I would like to have hit 700 or something like that there. Well, like Jamie McGrew and Noel Bailey, something like that, Winky Murphy, you know.
Well, over 500 appearances is definitely something you should be very proud of for making for this football club.
Well, yeah, it is, and I was always very proud to play here. But it's just a personal thing I have.
Okay, George, moving on to the 1989-90 season. Tell us a little bit about that and your experience you had then in the Soviet Union.
Yep, that was we won the league that year, and we got drawn against Dnipro. It's funny we talk about that now because that was in Ukraine, and to get there, we had to travel to Berlin, and at that time there was East Germany and West Germany. And we went to West Germany and Berlin, and we crossed into East Germany through Checkpoint Charlie, which is obviously not there now in today's world. And then we flew to Kiev, and we stayed overnight in Kiev, I think. And then we flew to Dnipro to play the game against them. I think they beat us 2-1 or 2-0 or something, or 1-0, something like that. But they were a Ukrainian team. So they were, and it's funny in today's world, that's one of the areas that Russia has overtaken at the moment. Is Dnipro down in the, as far as I'm aware, down in the Donbass area in Ukraine. So it was a great time. It was a great experience to be there, but it was bad. Germany was split then, and things were a lot different than they were now. But that was a good year. We won the league, and again. That was a period where the rebuilding job was still going, and Roy Coyle was rebuilding another team.
Did you feel much pressure then on yourself, as you say, Roy Coyle building a team? Did you ever fear then that maybe you could have been out the door?
Well, I mean, that was the rules from the day I came here with Roy Coyle. It was the way he operated, quite rightly so in my opinion. But that was the way he worked, and if you didn't, it was either shape up or shape out. You know, and that was the way he worked, and he built about 3 teams over the years, and managed to keep going and winning the league, etc. in the 80s. So fair play to him.
Okay, George, what was it like then, being an experienced member of the Linfield dressing room then, being then at the club then for 10 years plus? Yeah,
well, we went into a period there where the club brought in players from abroad, and I think that was basically to do with the fact that nobody would sell them their better players here in Northern Ireland. So it was deemed then we would go abroad, and we brought in 2 guys, Tony Coyle and Kamal, who were playing in Belgium. And then we had the other 2 guys, Danoon and Yahi, who were Algerians, who came and whatever. So they had to bed into the scene. Unfortunately, Yahi got injured. We didn't really see a lot of him. He got injured. But the other guys came in, did their best and whatever. But my point of view was always, you know, do they have the real feeling for the club? Do they know what the club's about? Do they know what it means? Do it means in a salary to turn up and play, live with the pressures and all the rest of it? I'm not sure whether they grasped that. But however, it was done, dusted, and we move on.
You mentioned Sam Kamal. There's a memory I remember fondly there from a few years back where you hadn't seen him for so long, and you actually met him in the tunnel area.
I come up to meet him. I come up to meet him. Stephen Shaw asked me to come up and see him, and I hadn't seen Sam in maybe 20 years or something, you know. But he's still involved out there with this club in Belgium, and he was running a restaurant, so he's invited me over to his restaurant if I'm ever over there. But he said, make sure you bring your wallet.
Okay, Geordie, another special memento to yourself in the 88-89 season was making your 500th appearance for the club, of course against Cliftonville.
Great memory of that there. Like I said before, you know, we like to play more games than it actually did. But 500, Roy Coyle, you can call yourself a Linfield player once you've reached 300 games. He said you can call yourself a Linfield player then. That seemed to be the situation in the dressing room and all the rest of it. But to reach 500 was, for me, a momentous occasion, and one I'm very proud to have reached.
Okay then, we'll move on then.
Hummel kits.
Yes, to the Hummel kits, and from this season. Tell us a little bit about that. We see a picture of you here with a great side wearing the goalkeeping shirt.
Yeah. Again, you can see we've gone through transition there in that team, and that's Tony Coyle in there in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. I think we played the Glens that day, and I think Coyle scored a goal from about 30 yards out, if I can't remember. I think he scored a goal from about 30 yards out. But that was the Hummel kits, which were nice kits as well, and different design, obviously. We got their boots and all to wear with them. Now, the boots weren't as good as their kit, I'll tell you that. But that was a good time as well. We had a good side then too.
Some firepower and some...
Yep. Stephen Baxter there, yeah. and George O'Boyle. George O'Boyle was a great player. You know, I love playing with George. He brought a wee vitality to the squad, he brought skill, he brought ability to it, and I think it may have been that season George O'Boyle transferred to Bordeaux. Mm-hmm. I think he went that year to Bordeaux, and then from Bordeaux his career went on to Scotland.
When you see all these great Linfield players here that you've played with throughout the years, is there somebody that stands out that would be a favourite of yours?
Well, I mean, I was always very friendly with Peter Rafferty. You know, we were very close in that, and he was a fantastic leader to the team as well. But there were so many good players I played with. You know, Lindsay McKeown was a great player. Martin McGackie was a great player. You know, the Billy Murrays, the people like Alan Fraser and things like that. They were all great players, and I couldn't really pick out one. But if I did, it'd be Peter Rafferty. Growing
up, then, did you have an idol or anything yourself that you used to look up to?
Pat Jennings. Pat Jennings was always my idol. I remember even in the street, playing in the street, if I was in goals and come out and catch one-handed, it was always Jennings. He was my idol, and when I met him for the first time, I was in awe of him, totally in awe of him. But he was a great man and helped me along the way.
Obviously, playing with him then in the Northern Ireland squad and being involved with him, did he give you any advice then on how to move on then in your career?
Yeah, oh, of course. In training, he would, you know, he would have a quiet word in your ear about positions, angles, all the rest of it. But he was such a wonderful character, and to this day, even I'm very much in awe of him.
Moving on to 1988, the George Best Testimonial here at Windsor Park. Tell us a little bit about how special that was for you to be called up to play in this game, and tell us a little bit about any memories that you have from it.
I think my memory of that there were so many people here, I think we finished up getting changed in the old viewing lounge. I remember getting changed in there in the old viewing lounge. But that was a great occasion too. Again, you know, George Best was another hero of mine. Mm-hmm. And when I got to meet him, it was such a wonderful occasion. He played in the Testimonial. He was such a lovely man, and it was a privilege to play in that game.
Have you any memories from the actual game itself and the build-up to it?
No, there was a lot of stars at the game who came over from England and further afield for the game. I think there's 3 or 4 Irish League players that were involved in the game, and I was lucky to be one of them. But again, you know, you're talking about a real legend here. You're talking about the best of the best, in my opinion, and just to be in George Best's company was a privilege.
Okay then, Jordy, moving on to the Irish League football Centenary year. Tell us a little bit about that and any memories that you have.
I think from we played Manchester United at Windsor Park here. It was a full house. It was a full house here, and also I think that particular year we'd been to Canada we travelled to Canada that particular year as well. But it was Mervyn Brown got all these, secretary of the Irish League managed to attract these teams across, and they play against Man United for the Irish League. And a good save. We did really well that night. There was, I think the team would have been myself, Trevor McMullen, Houston from Larne, David Jeffrey, Lindsay McKeown, Billy Kansky, Roy McCready, Martin McGackey, Gary McCartney, Raymond McCoy, and Ricky Wade. And that was the team. And we put it up to them that day, and it was a real good game. And as I say, I think it was about 40,000 at the game or something like that there, you know. So that's my memory of that Centenary year.
Another great memory to have, and something I'm sure you'll cherish.
Yeah. And the fact that we didn't get overwhelmed by Man United, we gave them a good game. Coyle put a good squad together, and we gave them a good game, and I think it was enjoyed by all.
Okay, George, coming to near the end of your career then at Linfield, did you know at the time then that your time was up at the club, or how did that come about?
Oh, I knew myself personally. You see, sometimes players set their own standards, and I felt my standards were slipping. And players at the end of their career don't want to give up, but there's a time to go, and not overstay your welcome. That last year for me, the Glens had beaten us 7 times that year. It was a bad year. Maybe I took too much blame on myself, but I felt my standards were slipping. You know yourself when your time's up. You know it's time to go. I mean, over the years, I see Roy Coyle releasing players leaving here with tears in their eyes, not wanting to go. But I was 34, coming 35. I don't think my reactions were as sharp as they should have been, or maybe couldn't have been anymore. It was a sad time for me to go, but like everything else, there's a time and a place, and only the player himself knows, and if he's honest enough, he'll go when it's right.
How much then did that hurt, knowing then that you had to go, given how much of a special place Linfield Football Club has in your heart?
Well, there was a big void in my life. I don't mind telling you. I'd be coming here 3 and 4 times a week. Maybe it was all part of our life. The whole ethos of the whole thing, the comradeship, the teammates, the banter, the crack, the dressing room, all of a sudden came to an end. And it was a void in my life. But as I said before, it happens. And you've got to be man enough to say, you know when your time's up. And when your time's up, it's time to go. I was, as I said before, very grateful for my time here. Loved it, loved the club, loved the fans, loved everything about the club. But there's a time to go, and it was my time to go.
Well, Geordie, on behalf of myself and everybody at Linfield Football Club, thanks very much for your service, and thanks very much for joining us today. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers, Geordie.